Alrighty, this is the recording for magnetic fields lesson 1.5. And the first thing that I drew attention to when I started class was this metabolism retake. So the metabolism test went into your grades on Monday, and some people did not do so well, and some people didn't do it at all. And so if you would like to fix your score, there's information here on how to do so. You can do multiple choice, short answers, or both as far as the retakes go. And I put a Zoom link in here and then times which I will be in there to conduct that retake. So that was the first thing I kind of showed. And it's really important because if you don't show up to one of those times, the score is going to stay as is. So if the score wants to be fixed, then that is the opportunity to do that. And so for the 1.5 lesson, there was a warm up. And in that warm up, so for the warm up, you were going to do a little exploration with compasses. And so it kind of poses a question. Do compasses always point north? And it wants you to use the simulation to kind of look into that. And so there's some instructions. So open the sim and then put a bar magnet in the center of the screen. So simulation bar magnet. And then the field lines toggle at the top of the screen. So if you look here, and my face is covering it right here, if you click that on, now you can see that there are field lines, which are the magnetic field lines coming out of my magnet. And then we're going to run and analyze, and we're going to put the compass on our screen so that we can see how the compass reacts. So I'm going to run and analyze. And then down here, I can put the compass. And I kind of just move the compass around and kind of observe what I see. And I can see that that needle of the compass is moving as I move it. And it doesn't matter how far away or how close this compass is, it is still being affected by the magnet. And so in the warm-up, it wanted you to answer what happens to the compass needle as you move the compass around. Back into the activities for today. Going into the home page. So the warm up is already done, and then slides 14 and 15 in the notebook, and then there's an exit ticket. What I also did was about a week and a half ago, the last Friday we had class, I put these part 1 notes out for you. So you've already had access to those, and then these part 2 notes are new. And so what I was hoping was that you could get all of your Cornell notes filled out. So you should already have part 1 done, and then part 2 will wrap them up, because you will have a chapter 1 quiz on Friday over just the stuff we've been doing with magnets before we move on to chapter 2 next week. And so my hope was to start the week by getting these done so that you had them to review and use kind of as a study tool. And so those are there. And then, like I said, we did these 2 slides. So I'm going to get my notebook open and show you what we did. So in the notebook, the first thing that needed to be done was a rereading of just the second and third paragraphs in the article that we read on Wednesday, or not Wednesday, Monday or Tuesday of last week, depending on when you had class. And so we are looking at that article to answer this question. So how are magnetic field line models helpful? And we know in science, whenever there's something that's too large for us to observe, or maybe we can't see it with the naked eye, we use models to kind of help us understand what is happening. And so if you also remember, we read this article together and I highlighted it and helped you go through it. And so it is looking at these two paragraphs, which we have already highlighted, and you can see we looked at some of the important information already. And so you're going to use that to tell me how those magnetic field line models are helpful. And this over here, oops, I lost my mouse. Where did my mouse go? There it is. And this over here is a picture of some magnetic field lines. And so we have them attracting and over here repelling. So that is another helpful model for you to kind of look at. And then below that, after you answer that question, you are going to use the simulation again to kind of do 3 different parts. And so you're going to use the simulation going back in, and I'm going to refresh it and start over. And you do that by clicking this rebuild right up here. So I'm going to start over, and what you are looking at, oops, clicked on the wrong thing, is there are 3 different things that you're going to set up. You're going to have part 1 where you want to show, because you're going to take screenshots. You're going to set up these scenarios, and then you're going to take a screenshot and upload that screenshot to show me what you did. And so there's 3 scenarios. There's repelling, attracting, and both. And the both one is kind of like a challenge, I would say, because it's a little tricky, but you can do it. And so up here, like I said, simulation, you're going to want to make sure you turn on that field line toggle again, which mine's already turned on from before. And so you're going to place your magnets, and I'm just doing a strong and a weak right now. And you can see my field lines are there. And I'm not going to give away too much, but you want to show, is this repelling? Is this attracting? And we can see my lines are going away. You can use these white arrows to rotate your magnet and see what happens when you rotate it. You can move your magnet farther away from each other and see if it is still working. You can move it in different directions. You can also take away magnets and do too strong and kind of play around with those. And so different options that you are going to use to be able to do this with. And so you're going to want to highlight, because the first part, repelling, you want to highlight which of those have the best option for what those magnetic field lines look like when they repel. And then when you get to slide 15, you're going to do the 2 other scenarios, so attracting and, like I said, repelling and attracting. And the attracting has another question, so you're going to want to highlight which one matches the best option for what those magnetic field lines look like when they're attracting. And so that is slide 14 and 15, and then this little exit ticket. And then that is it for this lesson.